Hey everybody, Michelle is here on this, I think it's a Wednesday. Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. And I've just got up from a nap because I had gotten myself drained on the last few days, running around handling my business and taking care of this, taking care of that, thinking, contemplating, not ruminating, and being reflective about um, what I'm doing with the second phase of my life, and how thankful I am that I can make decisions and be confident that, hey, you know, to some people everything seems like a big deal, and that there's a lot of effort in certain ways that we must involve ourselves in the developing of our lives. These last few days have taught me that um, I can see how that may be true, that we are in the belief that we always have to have our hands in everything, and our continuous interference, so to speak, in our lives and how our lives are developed. And very few people have modeled for us, and let's be very honest, very few people have modeled for us what it means to be a genuine human being and what those responsibilities and accountabilities are. So it's easy to say, for example, you are in a body of water, and you're attempting to learn how to swim. You know how it is, right? You're kind of flapping and just doing everything in your power to keep your head above water, so to speak, and you're not paying attention to the instructions because you're so frantic, and you're doing everything in your power to not drown, right? Uh, but then the teacher always tells you, the more you forcing it and interfering, yes, you eventually will drown because you're panicking. But if you can just relax, just lay back and relax and float or flow, you know, you eventually, you know, get a grip, so to speak, and kind of, allow your body to take over. Sometimes you may fall down below water, but then once you're laying on your back and you relax, your body's supposed to bring you to the surface and blah blah blah. Swimming is not one of my favorite things to do, so I don't swim at all. Especially, I mean, unless it's necessary, I don't get in any of this body of water anywhere. Um, it's just not a. It's never had been a favorite of mine to be swimming. But I did take the lessons back in the day, and I did everything I could to keep my head above water, so to speak. But I realized I didn't necessarily need to be, I didn't necessarily need to do that per se. But to each his own, because it's just like with everything in life, it's always about keeping your head above water, and staying afloat, staying flowing, you know. But again, if you don't have people that are necessarily constantly reinforcing, what it means to be a human being, we're going to all be doing that, struggling to survive, struggling to keep our head above water. So I'm at a reflective point right now, and I feel good, magnificent and marvelous, because I kind of swim. I kind of am swimming against the flow, so to speak, meaning a lot of people want certainty in their lives. Understandable and just understandable. But I know also at the same time, you have to, you still have to move forward and anticipate uncertainty and then know how to adapt to it. And like I said, when you're driving, you may have to shift lanes, you may have to accelerate, you may have to slow down, you may have to stop, you may have to take a detour. I did all that coming this way, literally coming to this region, and I enjoy it here. I think this is where I need to be. I'm not feeling any reason not to want to be here. I know that and usually with me, once I leave a situation, I stay away from it. I rarely go back to the same situations. What does that mean by that? The only reason why I happen to return to certain places a second time around is because of stuff that happens beyond my control. You're going to run into that too. Things that are happening beyond your control, where, as an adult, you still have to take responsibility and accountability and handle. So I'm sitting here being reflective because at some point, I'm going to have to decide, okay, where do I want to set up? Where do I want to be? Okay, what line of work I want to venture into? And, and make sure that I am doing everything in my power to contribute to my success, contribute to providing for myself, taking care of myself, and supporting myself, and this and that and the other. And when I do decide to partner up or marry, make sure that we are, as a partnership, that we are covered and taking care of each other, just as we would be if we were single. I think you need to go into any type of partnership, marriage, relationship, to make sure you can handle a whole of yourself, right? That you don't need another. In other words, you are a whole person. You're a whole, complete person, meaning you can go and take care of yourself as a whole, complete person, and the person that comes into your life has to be a whole, complete person. And then you come together. Two whole and complete persons come together and assist each other, support each other, and most importantly, love each other and be there for each other. So again, like I said, with my parents, so to speak, there was this, in my opinion, they were two whole people with flaws and problems and this and that and the other, just like all of us. We all have that. But again, I'm so thankful for the modeling of love. I saw in my dad's eyes how he would light up when he saw my mother. And I saw in my mom's eyes, she would give that look at him like she was irritated and just bothered by him. But, I knew she loved him too. It was a dynamic of a relationship, a marriage that I picked up good, bad, ugly. I have opinions and theories as to why it became a little bit more of a consciousness struggle for maybe the both of them, or a psyche struggle. But I won't talk about that, right now. But I will at some point, because it's important to know that there are limits. Okay, and that can be limits in your behavior and your actions. There's a limit to certain things, especially on the material coarseness of stuff. In other words, you have to limit your consumption of things, limit your enjoyment of things. Everything has to be neutralized. And anytime someone goes a little bit too far over the edge, so to speak, it does affect the partnership. It affects the balance of the relationship, and that can be addiction. Like addiction. It can be mental illness. It can be financial. It can be, a whole horse, a whole, you know, yeah. It's just it's a difficult balance, but it can work. You know, if everybody's willing to put in the work for it. So I'm sitting here reflecting, thinking, because at some point I'm going to have to decide. Like I said, where am I going to set up? Where am I going to live, per se? It'll be a more permanent uh, um, reality. In other words, it'll be a home for me, wherever that will be. And so I'm looking forward to determining where that will be, and what that's going to look like this time around. I had plenty of experience. And that's why I say experience is the great teacher, because it allows you to kind of say, okay, because with every experience I've had over my life, it has brought me to this point. How I got through going round and round and round in circles, trying to find this place, trying to find that place, my direction of travel, or just, these apps, this new technology, and keeping up with that, and um, and understanding, that it's not business as usual. It is not business as usual. And I think a lot of people are still trapped in their, let me just be really honest. You can easily get yourself trapped in your fantasies, right? And think, like everything is just so wonderful. You're living all of that in your mind. You're living that in a fantasy. You're not necessarily in reality and living things. You're staying right in here, and you can get lost and trapped. And that's why I think a lot of people get depressed too, because when they kind of snap out of it, they realize, oh, okay, the bills are due. I got to pay my bills, right? I got to feed myself. I got to do this. I got that. And so the realities of your life, which we all have, will, if you stay in fantasy for so long, can start compounding and compounding, and then you start neglecting and realizing, oh, I should have taken care of this. I should have taken care of that. So I do, like I said, I do everything in my power to stay grounded in reality, and I do. And I know that it's gonna be a struggle sometimes, and other times it's a relaxation and a calmness and peacefulness as well. Um, you know, again, with the state of our planet, the massive overpopulation of everything, people, cars, buildings. I'm looking out through my window now, and I can see the mountain out in the distance. And I can see that the mountain is kind of disturbed. And what do I mean by that? You can tell that there's something been drilling. There's some man-made things happening, as well as climate. Because of the things that we've done, unconsciously. I said, events that should have taken place a million years in the future are going to be happening a million years right now in certain regions, and right now, in the near future, so that's something to be very, you know, you need to be aware of that and understand the implications of it. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more a little later, probably tomorrow, because right now I want to go ahead and still handle some things. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow I'm going to do some things to prepare myself, and I probably go into the next step of my destination. I probably will go through there during the weekend. All right, and decide how I feel, what's the energy there, and then I'll come back here, and then I'll decide if I want to continue there. I mean, this area is pretty nice. I'm going to be honest. This is a developing area, upscale developing area, very nice. And I don't feel any kind of way, one way or another. I know I would, and so based on my skills and abilities, I would, need to find housing and work here. So, it's a lot to think about. But that's what life is about. You still have to engage in your situation, in your reality, but make sure you stay grounded and not be so trapped in the fantasy. The fantasy can get you lost in the sauce, I guess I heard someone said, or just lost in the mountains. Get lost in the mountains. So, and lost in the elements, and you know, and get yourself, faced with realities you can't manage, because because of your fantasies. The fantasies about how big you think you are, how strong you think you are, how knowledgeable you think you are. But when it's you in the mountains, guess who's gonna win? Guess who's gonna win? So I'm gonna go ahead and I know it's kind of, the lighting is not the best in this. It's kind. It gets, when it gets dark. I notice it gets dark, honey. Oh boy. And I hope to, be in a place where I can, see the stars, see the moon, and the mountains in a more intense fashion. Because there's always a lot of sightings over here on the West Coast for some reason. People always seeing things. I wonder why. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and send peace and love, and trust me, I'll be back.